Hello and welcome to this overview of the Callflows application. I'm going to show you how to use the Callflow application briefly, as well as set up an example Callflow with multi-IVR. And when you log into the dashboard and click the Callflows application, you'll be presented with the building blocks that you see in front of you. And these are all part of how to use the call flow and how to put these building blocks together. You can set up and edit any of these options that you see while you're building the call flow, but if you would like an overview of, for example, all of your groups and all of your users, you can do so here in the main overview, and then you can implement which ones you want in a particular call flow. And just a quick example of that would be going to the users here. You have your users on the side, and you'll be presented with device settings below for the user and basic information, and then you've got usually always an advanced tab which will give you additional options here. And of course the tabs will be descriptive of what they are. Now in all of the white space input boxes, if you click inwards, you will see a tooltip describing further how to use that particular input box, or if you hover over, you'll be able to get a descriptive overview of what the option does. So fairly straightforward, and that should be more than adequate to help out in those situations where you're not quite sure what the feature or option does. So let's go to our call flows here. And if you have existing call flows, they will be listed here. Be sure to read this overview with the 4 steps of how to use, generally speaking, the drag and drop call flow builder. And we're going to get started and click Add Call Flow. So, per the animated GIF prior, we're going to need to add either a number or an extension to start off the call flow. So this says when this number or when this extension is called, continue to the next action. And whether we want it to be added to the contact list, so is this callable by other users, by the directory, and so forth. Let's go ahead and save that. Now we'll need to add either an extension or a phone number to the call flow. So this will be the first thing that triggers the call flow, so whether the number or the extension is called from anywhere in the system. So we can choose from spare, we can buy numbers, or again we can choose that extension. So let's go with this one, and we can add additional extensions, additional phone numbers, etc. That'll trigger the same call flow. Now note that this will not be saved, and none of the call flows will be saved until you hit save changes, so be sure to look for that if you're gonna go through and maybe save for later and continue off. So over on our right here, we've got our actions, and these are additional building blocks. Pretty descriptive here in terms of what you can expect and what category these are under, going from basic to advanced. So there's a number of things that you can do, and you'll be able to kind of get a tooltip of how to use these and what the fields are. Again, you can hover over to get more information on them. So what we're going to do with this call flow is we're going to attempt to make a multi-layer IVR, and to do that we've got firstly I'm going to do a time of day in here so that we actually will be able to set some rules in terms of the time of call. So we just drag it over. So time zone, So these can be set up again in the previous screen. We're just going to say that, all other times, meaning not including any of these. Let's just say Monday only. Now, during those hours, if those are valid hours, it's going to go ahead and get me to my menu. So this is an IVR, auto attendant, and if you've set these already in the previous screen, you can go ahead and choose the one that you're looking for. You can also add a new menu, and you'll have your various options to do so. Configuration, white list of numbers, so allowed, blocked. I'll leave those blank if not needed. And then again, you've got your tooltips accordingly. So we're just going to use the main open hours menu. Right. So that's actually going to include a particular greeting and so forth. We have the option to change our greetings, and we can also move the language in and out depending on where we're going with that as well. So the next action is, let's say, a press 1 for English and press 2 for French as an example. So I'm going to drag in another menu here. So this is our default action. Now here you're going to see 0 to 9, and then your star option, the default action, if nothing's pressed, and then the timeout, what happens when there is a timeout scenario. That's when the caller doesn't actually enter in any digits or select any digits from the menu. So let's say for English, press 1. Now where do we want this to go? Assuming here you would have an English menu. We're just going to go ahead and use one of the existing ones. And now we can see the little number 1 here. That's our action. Now we want number 2 to go to a French menu. So we're going to drag this back into the original menu. We're going to select a different action being number 2. And again, we would choose here French menu, for example. And just to be creative, what we can do as well is go ahead and we can find a directory. So for the directory, press star if necessary. You might want to nest those underneath these submenus, but just for the purposes of the demo, we will put it there. Okay, so now we've got English and we've got French in theory. And we can continue to build underneath the same way that we've built under this menu. So let's go and say we have a ring group for sales in English. So we're going to drag that under the English menu. That's going to be for sales, press 1. So who's part of this ring group? So the name of the ring group, the ring strategy, all ringing at the same time or in sequence, and is there a message or music on hold, and the number of times to ring. So these options here, if there's a delay in the ring and then the timeout, so how long will we ring this particular user for before it simply goes to the next action. We can also do devices and groups as well. So these are our members. And so when we press 1 in English, we get the Sales English menu, and we can do that for our French menu. So Sales for French, and the same thing for our French members. And then you probably have a sense of how to go from here in terms of what you want your other options to do. If you want to add voicemail as a particular option, you could say option 3 is voicemail, and then the user's voicemail box, and we've got 3 here. So now when you've called this phone number during a particular time of day, you're going to reach the menu, press 1 for French, 1 for English, 2 for French, and then you've got your sub options accordingly. Also, if you would like to have a different call flow for a different time of day, such as after business hours, holidays, etc., you can actually just drag over another set of rules underneath the time of day, and then you're going to choose those times accordingly. Sunday, Friday, and then you're going to have a different call flow underneath here, just as we built the one on the left, as this one is for all other times that don't fit into, in this example, Friday. Generally, again, you do a daytime, after hours, and perhaps holidays and weekends type of menu. Don't forget to hit Save Changes. You can go ahead and call the number, or you can create an extension to call it locally for testing purposes. Either way, it should accomplish your goal. And again, that's a quick overview of the Callflows application and setting up a multi-layer IVR. If you have any questions, please let us know at help@nurango.ca, or you can check out the knowledge base for more tips. Thanks, and enjoy using Callflows.